they don't build mansions for poor or middle class people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, they don't build mansions for every type of society, you know?
They do.
Oh.
They're called projects.
You said what?
They do. They call projects.
No, those aren't mansions. I'm
Oh,
talking.
yes, they are. It's like a group buy-in on a mansion.
What do you mean? Be more.
It's a group buy-in. Like, look, obviously, one of you poor people can't afford to buy this mansion. So we're going to build a bigger mansion for all of you guys to share. There you go. And we'll just...
you're talking about an apartment, basically.
No, I'm talking about the projects. You know what the projects are?
I mean, yeah, I know what the projects are, but...
It's one big house, basically.
Yeah, but that does... I mean, I guess if you want to look at it in in that type of way. I mean, I can't even think about that without cracking the fuck up. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I mean, yeah, if you want to look at it that way, and or if you want to shine somewhat of a positive light on a very negative situation, there you go. Like, I mean, yeah, niggas can't own a mansion together.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's true.
That's basically what I'm hearing. We can't individually own a mansion,
Nope.
you know, but if we come together as a congregation, we can do anything.
I don't know if I'll say all that, but yes.
You can.
If we could.
That's the biggest problem.
That's funny.
It systematically makes sure that people don't bond together because, yeah, collectively, we can take over this.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll never happen. But there's always somebody who's jealous of somebody or doesn't like that person or can't get along with that person or hasn't. That's how it is.
I mean, yeah, like, I'd be the first person to tell somebody, like, I can't have roommates. Like, even though I know that if I were to be able to sustain roommates and be able to take it, you know, we could probably have a big place, but I just can't take living with people. I literally can't. Like, it's just not in me.
I literally read an article last night that made me laugh, and it was a couple. I think they're in the Hollywood Hills.
Uh-huh.
They have a house. It's not a mansion, but it's pretty fat. You know, this place was happy as they could ever be. Well, over the last 10 years, they decided they needed to move, so they sold their house. The reason that they put for selling the house is because there weren't other families that started moving in. Oh no, these were there was like 10 people that would go in on one of these places and then buy it. So now these people are throwing parties and, you know, saying, acting crazy, you know, got cars probably parked on the grass. I mean, you know. So they were like, there goes the neighborhood. They got to move. The problem was when they sold that house, moved out of the neighborhood they wanted to move to up in Santa Barbara, they couldn't afford it. So now they're renting a place somewhere close to where they wanted to live until the market went down. It wasn't that anything else but the fact that their neighborhood turned from people basically that could afford these houses to people doing group buys and all getting like, all right, 10 of us are going to come in and we're going to split the mortgage on this joint and we're just going to go in there and rock out. So to them, they were balling. Could you imagine if one of your friends invited you over to a mansion, even though they shared it with 9 other people?
Yeah, I mean, I will give you that. I can honestly say if somebody said I lived in a mansion, for one, I wouldn't believe them for a second. Two, if they said, yeah, come to the mansion, and I came to the mansion and I was able to actually get into access to the mansion and walk in the mansion and I saw 9 to 10 other people, I'd be like, makes sense. Makes sense.
It's still a mansion, right?
Yeah, it's still, a part of you would be very envious because obviously these 8 or 9 other people aren't going to be here all the time. So technically, you might still have access to a mansion by yourself, maybe like once a month, but still.
But would it really matter? I mean, think about it. Not if you just come up there to hang out. So if I
Yeah.
had a mansion, but it was me and G and Brandon, and it was like, there was 9 of us in there.
Yeah.
But I hit you up and was like, hey, bro, we throwing a party.
No, like I said, it wouldn't matter because with a mansion comes a lot of perks. So I mean, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And that's just my frustration with humans. Like I said before, it's like people really piss me off. So like, yeah, even though it looks good on paper, I just think about all the negativities and flaws that go in with living with 9 other people. Like, I get it. I'm not ever gonna say that it's not a good idea and it's not a good plan. I'm never even gonna say that if I had that option, I'd have to stomach every bowel, just not like I would have to get on some type of anxiety medicine to do something.
Not if it's big enough.
Yeah, it's a mansion.
Yeah, if it's big enough, yeah, you wouldn't even have to like I mean, we talk about the Mike Tyson mansion all the time. You could live on a week and week with you and your family and never have to see anybody. You're just in the only time you see people is walking out the door.
I'm not denying that. I'm like I said, yes, I tell people that all the time. 50 mansion, that was Mike Tyson. 50 rooms, 38 bathrooms, 4 kitchens. Trust me, that is a big estate. And I would never deny that 50 did not see Tony Ayo and whoever else was living there. but he was never there too. He's like out of all of them, he's always on the road more than obviously a majority of them because they look like they were nesters. They look like they weren't going anywhere or having anything going on. So I will say that, yeah, in 50's case, it's great if you always got that you're doing. You got to be there, which why would you have that place? Makes damn sense to me. But he doesn't have it anymore for that reason 9 times out of 10. Why you need 4 kitchens and just you and 4 other guys makes no sense. But no, like I said, I will.
What you about to say something, James?
No, I said, who was it? Blueface or one of them little dudes that mentioned a little bit ago that he just remembered that there was a bowling alley in his house.
Oh yeah, that's the other. I mean, that's the perk about having a mansion is that you could turn rooms into a billiard room, which I love pool. I mean, and like I said, if you get a good group of people, and honestly, I think that's what it would have to be. I would have to get a good group of people to live with. I couldn't just live with random people. Like it would have to, like, I mean, can you really say that you would want to live in a mansion with not knowing anything about the person? Just be like, we could get a mansion together. I don't know about you. I'm not saying that I have to know your whole life story. It's like, or James, I really don't know you like that, but it's like I could 110% see, yes, if it came down to it, being in yeah, I get what you're saying, but you have to know something about this person. Like something. Like you can't just go like this could be Charles Manson and end up having a harem, and then your house gets raided. Then what? Like, I know people that just live with random people eventually. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? How could you do that? Like, how could you do that? Like, you don't know nothing about this person.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and answer. I was trying to wait for see if James had an answer, but I'll go. I think I said it before, and I'll say it again. It depends on how big it is. You know, like for me, like if we're in a big enough mansion where, like it's a Mike Tyson's mansion, and there's like an entire wing, and people don't come nowhere near my wing, whatever. I only got to see you when come out the door, and you don't bother me. If it's big enough, I wouldn't care. I have an entire wing of a house to myself. Have an in out. You know, to get in there, you'll have to lock it, but it's basically living like in a house within a house. I mean, it's kind of, I hate to say it, but it's my fault. James was right when he said it's like the project, I mean, you live in apartments, and you probably don't know. I mean, I don't know, but most people probably don't know the neighbors unless you kind of have to, depending on where you live. But
to me, those are individual states. It's like that. I like that Mike Tyson has. You guys are all sharing this place. So if I put it like this, it's a main door. It's not like, okay, I'm not saying that the apartment. I'm saying that the mansion doesn't have different wings, but it's an estate. It has one gate, and that's it. So if the cops raid this one gate, that like who's ever living in that house is a suspect. In an apartment, if somebody raids the person next to me house, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. I get that, but I'll just say this, man. It to me, oh, you know what? I'll take that back. No, I'll shut up. Go ahead. Because I'll be honest with y'all. What I was about to say, what I was about to say was it's impossible if you're dealing with people with that much money. It's highly unlikely that you'll get rated. But I just remembered a couple of famous people got rated, so I'll shut up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying that if you're like I said, if you're like a Charles Manson type guy, or I mean, I know that's pushing it. I know Charles Manson kind of pushing it. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah, but that's good. I get it.
But I just feel like, yes, if you're having those parties in that much room, you got a lot of things going on there. Especially like if you're having alcohol, it's gonna be underage girls there. You just
who are you living with?
But like, okay, but okay, but that's the thing I'm saying. It's like you're gonna, like I'm saying, if you don't know who you're living with, that's what I'm saying. I said if I were to do that, I would at least have to live with people who I somewhat know. Or, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you couldn't live there with random people. Like, that's the only thing I'm trying to say. It's like, yeah, if you get a mansion with people who you somewhat know, I'm not saying that you got to know their day-to-day lives, but you at least have to know this person, somewhat stuff about this person. Like, I don't like how people move to houses with just random people. Like, to me, that's crazy. Like, I know a lot of people who've gotten houses together that just put an ad out on Craigslist, and they end up just having some random people living with them. To me, that's crazy. Like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not heard of, but I just feel like, yeah, like I'd rather move with 9 people who I know. Like, I got a very small circle. Yeah. So I know about 10, like really know about 10, maybe 12 people. Like, I can, like, individual people, and then like if they do have girlfriends, wives, or whatever, I mean, I'm not like, I mean, I really don't know too much about them. They're just an extension of that other person times that I actually know. Yeah. So it's like, but them being an extension of that other person, they're basically them at the end of the day. It's like, so I don't really need to know you. As long as I know, your dude or your chick, then that's good enough for me at the end of the day. But that's what I'm saying. Like, can you really say that you can count 9 other people that you would live with? Like, I know I ain't got 9 people like that I would actually want to live with. Like, you would have to throw some type of random people in there. You couldn't like work, or like I said, that's just how I think it is.
I mean, again, for me, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's not my preferred method. I don't want to live with people I don't know, like who I don't know at all. But I mean, especially when I ask a question of, could I think of like, now I could do, I can probably think of like maybe 2, 3 at the most of who I would really want to live with,
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I totally get what you mean, But I totally would get what you mean. I'm not gonna sit there and say you're wrong. But like, so just for me, this is me personally, I can personally do it depending on how big the house is. Again, for me, if it's like a mansion and people stay out my wing, like I tell, who did I tell? I was telling somebody the other day. I basically said, dude, I have no problem with nobody. I only have issues if you cross me. If you leave me alone and just be cool, I'll never have an issue. Not an angry dude, not a mad guy. Just 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 wanna achieve things. That's all.
For you to be like, if you cross me, El Capone, like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, I mean, like, you say that like you're straight out of Goodfellas or something, like, oh, if you cross me, like, what's gonna happen? Like, I
That's
mean, honestly,
I don't mean it that way. I don't
like, who the think you are? Like,
I don't mean it that way. All I'm saying is, just like leave me alone, let me do me, don't say nothing. And like I said, don't cause no issues. I'm cool. That's what I'm saying.
on a lot to ask for. You're trying to have roommate. That's a lot to ask for. That is a lot. That's like human nature in a nutshell. I don't know. That's a lot, man. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny to me. Don't bother me. Don't look at me. Don't
I didn't say
man
all that.
area.
I didn't say all that.
Keep your kids away from me and my
All right.